Board game! Thursday night in DC, I had just gotten done going to the Cosmo Lounge, which sounds like a nightclub. I was expecting neon lights and dance music and techno. And instead it ended up being the most stuffy, well-to-do, wealthy person stone mansion I've ever been in my life. I was told it was a black tie event, so I wore the most black tie-ness outfit I had, which was basically just my wedding outfit. And we had a little hors d'oeuvres thing, and I was talking to opera singers, and that was really fun. And then really cool, Richard Funkhauser, this guy who I knew when I was a freshman playing Chino, and he was Doc in West Side Story back in high school. I thought he was a really cool guy, and I saw that he started to get interested in board games not too long ago, and we were very lightly corresponding about, our interest in board games, and he had emailed me a couple months ago. I actually mentioned it at the end of one of my WACTS videos that he had created a game that I was going to play test and try out, and it was called The Fall of Llew, and I printed it out, and Liz and I just never really found time to play it, but I thought, I'm going to be seeing him in DC, so it'd be great, for us to play it then. So he said, let's meet at this place called The Boardroom, which is like a board game cafe, and it turned out to just be like a 3-minute walk from the Cosmo Club, and I'd already had some beers and some wine and a whiskey, and my God, I drink a lot when I travel, but it's okay, because I don't get hangovers. That's kind of cool. And yeah, this place was just a 5-minute walk away. We went and we played his game, we caught up, we talked about, our love of board games, what our first Euro game was. For him it was Carcassonne, for me it was Catan, pretty standard. And it was a really fun game to play. The premise, basically, the elevator pitch I've been giving people for The Fall of Llew, his game in progress, is imagine if you're playing chess, and it can be more than 2 players. Imagine you have 5 people playing chess, and everyone has control of the black and the white pieces. But everyone has a secret objective, and they don't tell anyone else what their objective is. And they're trying to get these battles to happen in a certain way. So that was kind of cool. So to go a little bit more in depth to it, you have these different land types, like a random tile layout, and there's forest and desert and water and mountains, and you can move freely over forest and desert, but for mountains and water, you need a special card to do that. You have a little deck, you have a hand, and that includes soldiers and priests and monks and all these different things that have different abilities. And so you have 2 actions per turn. You play an action, and actions can be compounded, so you can play multiple cards at once and have, an explosion of soldiers that go in all these different directions, a little bit like the way Pandemic works. And then also there's a Senate, and in the Senate you're trying to gain influence in a certain way. But again, it's not you're trying to get a certain suit to gain influence, because he uses the same suits from a deck of cards. So clubs, spades, hearts, diamonds, pretty cool. Anyway, I had a lot of fun with it. I ended up winning kind of by accident by collecting a bunch of relics, which I didn't know was a way I could win, because I thought my primary goal was to take over 13 land tiles. But it was a lot of fun, and I definitely understood the game really well by the end. And we just started talking about, maybe how to possibly break down the games into, I think about Agricola, and Agricola has a really good family game version that leaves out a lot of the more complex elements that are really fun once you're familiar with the game and want to add that complexity back in. It's also kind of like the difference between playing Catan for the first time, which I don't actually play that much anymore. I think it's kind of boring compared to the other versions of Catan's, and trying to show someone like Cities and Knights, which might be just a little bit too advanced for someone learning for the first time, but maybe not. So with him, I was trying to go over maybe there aren't multiple land types. Maybe it's just kind of like a simple grid and things can travel all over it. Maybe the objectives that people have are open, and so you can actually kind of watch what the other person's doing in terms of strategy, and it's a little bit more of a learning process for that first game. So anyway, we're just looking at different ways to break down the game, maybe make it more accessible, but it's a lot of fun. I think he's going to be releasing it in some kind of print and play format fairly soon. So The Fall of Llew, I'll let you know if there's any updates on that. I give it 4 stars with a confidence of 4.